Hello, my dear students. In this video, I'm going to discuss with you about Hibernate architecture. This Hibernate architecture is ORM based framework, that is Object Relational Mapping Framework, with three at most important layers. One is application layer, Hibernate core layer, and database layer. So just remember these three layers. With the demo, I am going to show you the importance of these three layers. Now, what you need to do is go to Eclipse, create a Maven project. Hibernate is the 11th task. I'm going to discuss the 11th task in this video. And also you can understand Hibernate architecture. After clicking on new Maven project, you just click Maven Architect Quick Start so that it will create a project. Now group ID is nothing but your package name. Artifact ID is your project name. I'm just going to give task 11 Hibernate project. Now my package name is Prima Task 11. My project name is Task 11 Hibernate project. Click on finish. Once after clicking on the finish, you can see the project is being created. Wait for a few minutes. Here, click on Y for making the build successful. Once after the build is successful, you can see under Project Explorer, what is the project name that I have given? Task 11 Hibernate project. So this is my Hibernate based project that I am going to develop now for you. Once after clicking on this project, you can see POM.xml. Here POM is nothing but it stands for Project Object Model, where we are going to give the dependencies that is needed for Hibernate based project creation. Then if you see under this SRC main Java, under our package name, here app.java has been created. I have not done anything. App.java has been created. This is nothing but the application layer where you are going to give your own development code. And under POM.xml, what we are going to do is, I'm just going to create a Hibernate framework based project. That is, I'm going to do the SQL based operation. For that, two dependency is needed. One is, since it is Hibernate core project, I need Hibernate core dependency. For that, what you need to do is, you have to go to mavenrepository.com and click on the latest version of Maven Hibernate core dependency. You just go to this link and just copy this dependency and paste it here. For Hibernate based project, we need the dependency Hibernate core dependency. Version is latest version 6.5.0. And using this Hibernate framework, I'm going to perform MySQL operation. For that, I need MySQL connector. For that, what I am going to do, just click on this, click on the latest version and copy this dependency, paste it here. So what I did so far, two dependencies added. Since it is Hibernate based framework, I am just adding Hibernate core dependencies. I'm going to perform the operation, database operation. For that, this project needs MySQL connector chain. Once these two dependencies were added, just save this pom.xml. Once after saving it, close it. Now, what is the next step in the sense? We are going to create an XML-based configuration, right? For that, what we are going to do is just click on this project, right-click on this project, and create a new folder. Where you need to create your new folder in the sense, just click on SRC, under main, I'm just going to create a folder named resources. You just see here under the project, under SRC main, you create a resources folder. Now, once SRC main resources have been created, we are going to create a XML file. For that, just right click on the SRC main resource, go to new, add a XML file, right? Once after clicking on the XML file, you just give the name of the file as hibernate-cfg.xml. It is nothing but hibernate configuration .xml file. Just click on the finish. Now, what we are doing in this sense, application layer has been generated. We are going to perform Hibernate configuration with this Hibernate cfg.xml. If you see the architecture, you can understand. First layer is application layer. Next is we are performing Hibernate configuration. This under this Hibernate core layer, we are performing configuration now. Okay. So now what you need to do is just we need Hibernate configuration. For that, first step is we are going to create the connection between a database and our Hibernate based project. For that, what you need to do is just give property name is equal to connection. It needs connection driver class. So what is my connection driver class? It is com.mysql.pj.jdbc.driver. So this is my connection driver class. What is next? I need another property. Property name is equal to connection URL. What is my connection URL? It is nothing but JDBC colon MySQL colon localhost colon 3306. So here I need a database. For that, I'm going to create the database. Now just click on MySQL workbench. I'm going to create my database. Create database. I'm going to have my database as task 11. Okay, just to create database task 11. Click on run option. If you just refresh the keywords now, task 11 database has been created. Under this, I'm not going to create any table because I'm going to create the table from my front end. Okay. In the back end, I have just created a database. What is my database name now? Task 11 is my database name. I have given my URL for this configuration. What is next? I need a username. Here, my username is nothing but property name is equal to connection dot username. So here username is nothing but a root. Password, same thing, and just copying it. Password, connection dot password is also root. Okay. Why it shows error in the sense here? Proper markup in the document should be well formed. It is a Hibernate based configuration. So I need to give at the root tag as Hibernate configuration. Okay. So under this, I just need to give all the statements. You see the error print. And also, it provides the session management. For session management, we have the tag called the session factory. What is the purpose of this tag is for each and every user? It maintains the session, separate session. So I am just going to include that tag. Under Hibernate configuration, this is for connecting to my database. Available database is task 11, and all the components that is needed for connectivity I have given. What is next in the sense? I'm just going to create a table that is automatically create a table from my front end. For that, what I have to do is, again, I need a property for SQL, right? So now I'm just going to call the Hibernate framework, Hibernate dot show underscore SQL. Okay. So what I have to do, Hibernate dot show SQL must be true to perform SQL operation. And then the next property is I'm going to perform DDL operation. Okay. So from Hibernate, I need Hibernate dot HPM, Hibernate mapping to DDL. Okay, HPM to DDL dot auto. Auto in the sense automatically, it will perform what operation? It has to create a table. Got it? So this property is for automatically creating a table. And also, if I need any format for that, you need to make that format underscore SQL true, right? So Hibernate dot format underscore SQL, here make it as true. Hope so now you understand why this configuration and all done. This configuration is for making the automatic, that is for creating a table automatically, we need this property. And if we want to make Hibernate to communicate with SQL, you just make it true. And if something has to be done, that is formatting has to be done, you need to make that property has true. Property value has true. Now, all the configuration setting has been done. Now click on Save All. What we have discussed so far is application layer has been generated. Hibernate, we have just used the configuration file. We are just going to map all these things to database now. Okay, now what we are going to do is, if you see the architecture once again, there is a persistent object. Now, our goal is to create a table with 4 fields. Okay, for that, I'm just going to create one Java class. Create a Java class. What is my class name is? I'm just going to give employee as my class name. Okay, so here employee is my class name, which is going to have all the get and set method. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, here under public class employee, just going to create 4 fields. What are the 4 fields? Private, int, ID, private, string, name, next private, float, salary. Okay, and then another one field is private, string, name. So 4 field I'm going to create. Now, yes is capital. Why I am creating all this 4 fields? To create a table. Using this persistent object connectivity, using this class, I'm going to make the connection with data. Okay. So now, what is next step in this? I'm just going to create a generator that, getter and setter method for all the 4 fields, right? Just right click on this, go to source, generate getter and setter method. Okay, select all, generate. Okay, for all the fields, getter and setter method has been created. What is our next task? We are going to make the primary key. Here, I'm just going to have my ID as a primary key. For that, I'm just use the annotation at ID. What is the meaning of this? I'm just going to have the primary key as ID, right? Why it shows error in the sense you need to import Jakarta.persistent library. Now it has been imported. This ID field is my primary key. Remaining and I'm going to format it as a column. All others are my columns. Just import the relative library so that the error will go away. Now, for each and every field, you just mention all other fields as just a column. They are not a primary key. So I have mentioned all other fields as columns. Only one field is my primary key. Got it? So now what I am going to do is just save it. If you see the project structure, this is my application layer where I am going to have my main function. This is my persistence object. This is my Hibernate configuration file, and pom.xml is having my dependency. Now, what is our next step in this one? We are going to map this in main.java, that is app.java. We are going to map all the existing persistent object along with the configuration file. For that, we need to just write down the lines, 4 lines for configuration. That is configuration class, create an object for the configuration class using the syntax. Configuration space object name is equal to new configuration, right? Just import that. Import. Yes. So it's not automatically importing, just to save all. So now what I'm going to do is import org.hibernate. If I am typing, you can see Hibernate not coming. Hibernate dot dot configuration. Okay. So now save it. So here it is showing the error. For removing this error, you need to import a library for this. Just move your mouse over here. It will show you the import library. Here, org.hibernate.cfg. Just importing that library for configuring my XML file along with my class file. Okay. So what is the next statement in the sense? You just call this configuration object and configure. So you have to configure your Hibernate pfg.xml file. Okay, hibernate hyphen pfg.xml. And after that, you are going to map the class. What is the persistent object class we have created? It is employee.java. So here the class file name is, just add annotated class. My class name is employee. I'm just mapping that class name with the persistent object along with Hibernate pfg.xml. Okay, employee.class. Actually, what is the meaning of this line? I'm configuring my Hibernate pfg.xml, which is having all the MySQL connectivity code property and its value has been set. Along with that, the fields I have defined in employee.class, I'm just mapping those two and configuring using the configuration class. What is the next step in the sense? Since we have the session factory, to maintain the session for each and every user, I'm just calling the session factory is equal to con dot build session factory. Okay, so now it shows the error. Quick fix. Here, Hibernate.mysql. For this, you have to import org.hibernate.quick. Just the import org.hibernate session. Okay, it doesn't show the error. So, what is the next line in the sense? You have to maintain a session. Okay, for that, create an object. Session is the object. Just to call the session factory dot open session. Right? Just import this. Or the Hibernate.session. Control S. Actually, what we are doing in the Hibernate configuration, you have just defined the property and its value to create a table automatically. Okay. And what it will do in the sense, it will go and create a table automatically in the data, inside the database task 11 that we have created here, task 11. Here table is not created. Using this query, we are just instructing the compiler to create a table. What is the table name in the sense? Here you need to define annotated table because all the fields were defined here. If we are giving this annotation at the table, it will go and create the table with all this fields. Okay. So for this error to move away, just click on this quick fix. Okay. Import the jakarta.persistence here. Okay. Now save all. What we have to do is go to app.java and we are going to execute it. Before that, I'll explain you the architecture once again. Application is your front layer where this is your main.java, app.java. And then persistent object here is nothing but persistent object. Where is my persistence object? This is my persistence object. Okay. So all the fields are set. And then this is my pfg.xml. If you see in the architecture, configuration file has been mapped along with by creating the persistent object to the application. Database has been mapped inside your configuration file. right? So all the three layer now we have used. Application layer contains the session factor, and Hibernate configuration.xml has been mapped using Hibernate core layer. And under this CFG.xml, we are having database that has been connected. Okay. So now what we are going to do is just click on save or right click it, run as Java application. If it is not having any error, you can see it is executing. That is a error in service exception. Unable to create a request to service or .hibernate engine .jdbc environment. So unable to create a record. Okay. So what we have to do is here under the configuration part. Right. It shows the error that is caused by this URL JDBC MySQL. Yes, here I have missed the slashes in Hibernate configuration. Here is my Hibernate configuration. If you see, I have missed this 2 slashes for URL, save all. And if I am just executing the app.java, you can see now that is being executed without any error. And connection pool size is 20. It is successfully executed without any error. Okay. So now what we need to do is you just open this MySQL backend and click on the refresh button. And if you see, it's not creating. Yes, it shows the error again. I'll tell you what is the error here. We need to mention it as the entity, right? Where it is executing. I have missed this. We have to mention this as the entity and import in entity. Okay. So once after doing this, save all. Because while we are executing a table, we are going to create. So represent it as an entity. And now when I am just executing it as a Java application, yes. Now it is executing. So if the table already exists, it will drop the table and it will create it. Okay. Connection obtained. So database connection has been obtained and the DDL execution. It is set to auto commit mode, successfully executed. If you see before refreshing under this database, there is no table that is created automatically. If I am refreshing that, you can see that employee table that has been created. And inside that, the structure is ID, salary, mail, and name. The 4 fields were created. Okay. Hope so now you understand this architecture. I'll repeat it. Application layer is nothing but here app.java. Okay. And then Hibernate mapping. We are performing using Hibernate CFG. We are just mapping the property and its value along with the database. Okay. So these components we are just giving first making the connection with the Hibernate project to database. Okay, to perform a Hibernate query. We are just giving this property and setting the values as true. So now you understand this architecture. 3 layers we have used. Application layer is for app.java. Persistent object is our employee.java. And the Hibernate mapping we have performed using configuration file. We have mapped with localhost 3306. Okay. And perform the automatic, that is auto table creation. Okay. So now if you want to insert the data inside our table has been created. If you want to insert the data, what we need to do is we'll just call the class. What is my persistent class? That is persistent class is employee. For that, I'm just creating the object new employee. Okay. So e dot you we have generated the setter method, right? So I'm going to set my ID as 1. Okay. And next e dot set name. Okay. So I'm going to set my name as Rema. Since it is a string, I'm going to give it as a within the quotes. Okay. E dot set mail ID. Okay. So mail ID is rema@gmail.com. Right. So it is a string. So I'm just going to give it as a within the quotes. Okay. Right. What is next? Oh, next the field is E dot set salary. Salary, I'm just going to give a random value as 10,000. Right? Once after doing it, actually I'm calling my class, creating the object, using that object and setting my all my fields value. What is next in the sense? These operations I'm just going to perform as a transaction. Okay. Call the transaction class, create the object for the transaction, call your session object. Okay. And then get this transaction to pass the values to the database. Okay, so get transaction, right? Configuration has been done, session factory has been called and object has been created for the session. Using the session object, you are just getting the transaction. Then after getting the transaction, just to begin the transaction using the transaction object e dot begin. What will happen with this statement in the sense it will start a transaction of my values. Okay. So now after the transaction is beginning, session dot save the employee object. Afterwards, T dot, this is important. This and all we have studied in DBMS right commit. Okay. So these are all the operations that you need to perform for inserting the data inside my table. Okay. So these values I am inserting. For inserting it, I'm just performing the transaction, right? Create an object for the transaction, just to begin the transaction and save the data inside my employee table. Okay. So now when I am executing it, let's see what happens. Run. Yes. Now insertion has been performed. Insert into employee. Insert into the fields. The values that I am, whatever the values that I am giving, it should be inserted there. Let's see. Before refreshing my table, it is having the null value. After refreshing it, if I am just clicking on my table once again, whatever the values that I have given, it has been inserted. Okay. So this operations, whatever we are doing now, whatever the query that we are giving, it is named as HQL, Hibernate Query Language. Okay. So now I think we have completed off of our 4th unit, Hibernate concept. A simple thing that you need to remember is this architecture. Using this architecture, I have explained you with the demo of your task 11 as well as all the concepts for Hibernate. Thank you for watching.